So as I promised, I was going to get into different ways to induce autophagy, some people say autophagy, through other means besides fasting. Now, people in the longevity community talk about autophagy. I like to say autophagy because it's a compound word of auto and phagy, which would mean self-eating, and that's exactly what it is. It's one of your body's ways to get rid of damaged or inferior body tissues, okay, that need to be gotten rid of. Now, people in the longevity community talk about autophagy, as they like to say so much. One, because it's a funny word. Remember, I told you about ikigai and harahachibu. Okay, that's the only two things anybody ever remembers about the Okinawan diet. And autophagy seems to be the only thing people that are interested in longevity ever remember about longevity. Okay? So, if you remember three things in any of my videos, I assume they will be ikigai, harahachibu, and autophagy. As I said, people in the community, the longevity community, people that want to live the longest, they like autophagy so much that they talk about it. It sounds, you'd think it was some kind of sex thing, but it's not. You know, like autophagy. Ah, yes, autophagy. But no, it's not. So, autophagy is an absolutely essential biological process that plays a key role in normal cell functioning and survival of your brain cells, and the rest of your body as well. The word autophagy is derived from the Greek words auto and phagin, which translates to self, and phagian, which means devouring. So it translates to self-devouring or self-eating or to eat oneself. That may sound scary and something that you want to avoid. And in fact, there is a psychiatric condition, usually in people that are mentally whacked. I believe it was noticed in people with PKU, which is a genetic disorder, where they will actually eat their body parts. I'm not positive on that. I might do a video on that just for the hell of it, but that's also called autophagy, but that should not be translated with molecular autophagy. So that may sound scary and something that you would want to avoid, but it's actually something you want to embrace and induce yourself, because autophagy is a self-cleaning mechanism within your cells. And it helps to detoxify, repair, and regenerate your brain. So how does autophagy affect the brain? Okay, research shows that autophagy supports the central nervous system, improves brain function, and reduces neurological cellular breakdown. So it reduces neurological cellular breakdown by getting rid of the messed up senescent cells, okay? And over time, our brain cells, yada yada, that's not important. But so in fact, researchers have found a link between autophagy dysfunction, meaning when your body's not doing this enough, and neurodegenerative and neurodevelopmental and neuropsychiatric disorders, including Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, Huntington's disease, schizophrenia, depression, bipolar disorder, frontotemporal dementia, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease, autism spectrum disorders, Fragile X syndrome, mood disorders, psychotic symptoms, and behavioral change. The good news is that you can do something about this, and let's get to what those things are. So number one, exercise. Researchers have found that aerobic exercise induces neuronal autophagy. What do you know? So, exercise is good for you. Did you know that? I didn't. Wow. Okay. So, exercise is a stressor. This operates through hormesis. So, exercise is a stressor on the body, and the body induces autophagy so that the cells can recover from the stress. All it takes is 30 minutes of aerobic exercise to activate autophagy in the brain. As a result, exercise increases neurogenesis and reduces neurodegeneration. So exercise increases neurogenesis and decreases neurodegeneration. Many doctors and researchers recommend exercise as their number one piece of advice for optimal brain health. Intermittent fasting, we're going to ignore that because, I said this was without fasting. A ketogenic diet. Now, this does not technically induce autophagy, but it does induce ketosis, which is a similar state. So, a ketogenic diet, and if you don't know how to do that, I would strongly recommend people read the Atkins diet. I think that is the best, most straightforward thing. And watch my videos on the Eco-Atkins diet. Although that doesn't take you all the way to ketosis, I would recommend, if you're going to do it plant-based. If you're going to do a ketogenic diet, I would recommend it in the short term. The best method of inducing a ketogenic diet is actually, and I bust on him a lot, but it's Walter Longo's book, The Longevity Diet. In that book, the fasting mimicking diet is a ketogenic diet, and that will induce autophagy. I believe a vegan keto diet is the best approach. I do think he goes way too low on the calories, okay? I really think that you should not be going that low on the calories. So, he goes to, I think, 800 calories a day, if I remember correctly. I would stop somewhere at 1,200 for the average person. I would not go that low. Now, of course, before I continue, now that I'm starting to say things like that, I have to remind you I am not a physician. I'm not a MD, not a DO, not an ND, not a chiropractor. I'm not a nurse, not an RN, not an LPN, not a CNA, not a nurse practitioner. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not, I'm not a nutritionist, not a dietitian. I don't have any medical training. So if you're going to get medical advice, get it from somebody with a medical degree and that has, a license. I don't. So don't take my advice, okay? I'm not giving you medical advice. No video on this channel is medical advice. So to follow the diet, you need to get most of your calories from fats. I would recommend monounsaturated fats, and no more than 10% of your calories from carbohydrates, less than 50 grams of carbs per day. When you restrict carbohydrate-rich foods such as grains, sugars, and even potatoes, legumes, and fruit, your body enters ketosis, a metabolic state in which your body and brain run on fatty acids and ketones instead of glucose. I don't recommend this method. Why? Because you're going to feel like crap. I'm just warning you. You're going to feel like crap when you do this. Researchers have found that ketosis is neuroprotective and reduces neurodegeneration by promoting autophagy in the brain. Autophagy reduces amyloid beta, the main component of amyloid plaques. Now, like I said, why do you want to get most of your fat from monounsaturated fatty acids? Because of your frickin' heart. You want to protect your heart, okay? Circadian rhythm, melatonin, and deep sleep. Getting enough sleep. Yeah, because when you sleep, what happens? Your body kicks in those DNA repair mechanisms, one of which is autophagy. So, I used to have very poor sleep, blah, blah, blah. Now, not eating a couple hours before bed can enhance this DNA repair. So research shows that not getting enough sleep and waking up intermittently throughout the night negatively alters autophagy in the brain. So it's the length and quality of your sleep that matters. So you want to maintain a proper circadian rhythm, promote the production and release of melatonin at night. Researchers have found that our circadian rhythm, sleep-wake cycle, controls autophagy and plays a role in cognitive decline. Melatonin is a hormone released from your pineal gland, a small gland in your brain. Melatonin has been shown to induce autophagy in the brain, and it reduces the risk of developing neuropsychiatric disorders. This is why a lot of gerontologists take melatonin. So even mild changes in your external environment, such as blue light at night, can affect your circadian rhythm, yada, yada, yada. This sleep supplement contains natural compounds, blah, 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 so it helps with the production of melatonin, da, da, da. Hot and cold exposure. Exposing your body to hot and cold temperatures can stress your cells and promote autophagy. Okay, several researchers have found that heat stress triggers autophagy. I think this is potentially dangerous, but that's just me. I wouldn't be doing this too much either. But if you spend time, and I would recommend only at the most 15 minutes in a sauna or a steam room and then take a cold shower, I would not recommend doing that because of shock. This person says, I personally like to go outside, blah, blah, blah. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Now, this was done in Israel, and it was shown to reduce many hallmarks of aging. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is a treatment that enhances healing and recovery after injury to the central nervous system. Patients inhale 100% oxygen. Again, this is a very potentially dangerous thing because it can whack out other systems in your body. This leads to oxygen being carried to all areas of the body where circulation is diminished or blocked. As a result, extra oxygen can reach all damaged tissues. Acupuncture. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So apparently it's this person recommends it for weaning off psychiatric medication. Now this is where I wanted to get. Foods that induce autophagy in the brain. Coffee and caffeine. I'd stick with cocoa. Green tea. Okay, AgingSymptoms. Now remember, quercetin is also in where? It's in cocoa. So it's been shown to have, so green tea has been shown to have anti-inflammatory, so AgingSymptoms, a polyphenol in green tea, has been shown to have anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective effects. Researchers have found that AgingSymptoms stimulates autophagy in the brain, protects against brain cell toxicity, and may help treat neurodegenerative disorders. It also improves learning and memory after chronic stress by restoring autophagic flux. Coconut oil and medium chain triglycerides. You can play with this if you want. It's just another way to induce ketosis. So, ginger. It contains lots of nutrients and bioactive. Reishi mushroom. Turmeric and curcumin. Broccoli sprouts, which are rich in sulforaphane. You can buy broccoli sprout extract or grow your own broccoli sprouts. Galangal. It's known as Thai ginger or Siamese ginger because it looks very similar to ginger, but it's actually a different spice altogether. Extra virgin olive oil. This is very potent. So, olive oil has numerous health benefits, particularly because of its strong anti-inflammatory effects. It reduces cognitive impairment, and it has potential benefits for Alzheimer's patients. Berries. Berries are rich in quercetin. Remember that. So, all three berries have been shown. So, blueberries, strawberries, acai berries, all three berries have been shown to significantly activate autophagy in the brain. The polyphenols within them also protect brain cells. Omega-3 fatty acids. And of course, you can read this on your own if you want. American ginseng. So it reduces mitochondrial dysfunction. Ginkgo biloba. Acetyl L-carnitine. Vitamin D and vitamin K2. Lithium. Obviously, you want to take microdoses of lithium, what would be present in normal food. There's also the 90 essential nutrients by Dr. Wallach. I don't buy Wallach's products. I don't use Wallach's products. But if you really want to get all 90 essential nutrients, he does sell 90 essential nutrients. And again, I don't use Wallach's products. The thing is, I know a little more, and I'm willing to take the time to measure things and make sure I'm balancing nutrients and stuff. Not everybody has the time to do that, and not everybody has the knowledge to do that. That's why the 90 essential nutrients, which contain lithium, might be a good idea for many people. Cannabidiol, or CBD, rhodiola, berberine, nicotinamide. You'll notice a lot of these are actually in that Novos drink too. Schisandra berry, spermidine, resveratrol, and pterostilbene. And I'm going to move on. I just thought I'd throw that in this video real quick for y'all. So a host of this is about diet, autophagy, and cancer. A host of dietary factors can influence various cellular processes and thereby potentially influence overall cancer risk and tumor behavior. In many cases, these factors suppress cancer by stimulating programmed cell death. However, death not only can follow the well-characterized type 1 apoptotic pathway, but also can proceed non-apoptotic modes, as type 2 and type 3 necrosis, and combinations thereof in contrast in apoptosis. This review highlights current knowledge and gaps in our understanding of autophagy cancer, whereas a variety of food components, including vitamin D, so keep in mind, vitamin D, selenium, curcumin, resveratrol, genistein, which is in soy, have been shown to stimulate autophagy vacuolization, meaning it helps to kill cancer. It is often difficult to determine if this is pro-tumoritic or anti-tumoritic, so they don't know whether it's pro or anti. Additional studies are needed, blah, 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 blah. Safe bet is it's probably anti, because these foods decrease cancer, so I would assume it's probably a safe bet to say that it decreases. It's anti-tumor. Moving on. So the anti-aging power of phytochemicals and dark-colored plant foods. Life expectancy is a significant indicator for estimating an individual's quality of life. No shit. The United Nations estimate for the global average life expectancy increased from 66.8 in 2000 to 73.3 in 2019, indicating an increase in the elderly population. The wasting and weakening of the tissues that accompany senescence are associated with an array of age-related chronic diseases such as cardiovascular diseases, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, cancers, etc., etc., etc. Healthy aging and human longevity are intricate phenotypes affected by environmental factors. Such as, so these, remember, the epigenome, they're affected by environmental factors. Even though they might be genetic, there might be genetic pathways. These genetic pathways can be and are manipulated by environmental factors, such as exercise, diet, and psychosocial circumstances. A great number of studies on dietary intervention have illustrated that a nutritious diet and caloric restriction, one more time, a nutritious diet and caloric restriction have an essential role in healthy aging. Diets rich in whole grains, fruits, and vegetables can promote health. Diets rich in whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Whole grains, fruits, and vegetables promote health, delay aging, and reduce the incidence of aging-related chronic diseases. The reason is that these plant foods contain high amounts of fiber, vitamins, and minerals. If you read the book, The Age-Defying Diet, or The Age-Defying Revolution, I think it might be called, by Dr. Robert C. Atkins, Dr. Robert C. Atkins rightly hypothesizes that the reason that Ancel Keys was right he was right and wrong about the Mediterranean diet and other Blue Zones diets was not particularly because they were low in fat. The Mediterranean diet is not a particularly low-fat diet. But what it is, and that's a misnomer, and actually Ancel Keys has pointed that out, it's a misnomer to say that the Mediterranean diet is a low-fat diet. It's not. Up to 33% of the fat up to 33% of the calories in the diet can come from fat in the Mediterranean diet. And Dr. Robert C. Atkins rightly pointed out that the real reason the Mediterranean diet is healthful is because of the phytonutrients and the fiber. Dr. Atkins was also a fan of fiber. Higher fiber intake is associated with lower mortality risk for those with type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular diseases. Additionally, many bioactive compounds called phytonutrients or phytochemicals, which are derived from grains, fruits, and vegetables, especially dark-colored varieties, play a significant role in human disease prevention. These phytochemicals have powerful antioxidant activities and multiple health benefits. Aging is associated with aberrant function of multiple signaling pathways and a host of factors, yada, yada, yada. The regulation and targets of autophagy and apoptosis. Here we go. Autophagy is a catabolism process through utilizes lysosomes to degrade damaged, denatured, and aged proteins and organelles in cells. It involves the sequestration and transport of intracellular material to lysosomes for degradation. People that don't know what lysosomes are, they're the organelles that kind of recycle the material. Macroautophagy is a representative and principal type of autophagy. It is an intracellular mechanism for degrading long-living proteins, preventing the accumulation. So it helps stop, it helps to rebalance proteostasis. Okay, remember proteostasis, where the stuff builds up in the extracellular matrix and clogs you up, and then your tissues don't work right. So it helps to rebalance proteostasis so proteins are where they should be instead of gumming up the works. Apoptosis is a highly regulated process of cell death involved in the development, homeostasis, and aging. Apoptosis can be triggered in a cell through either the caspase-mediated extrinsic or intrinsic pathways. The intrinsic blah, 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 blah. An essential characteristic of apoptosis is the release of cytochrome C from mitochondria and regulated by the balance between pro-apoptotic and anti-apoptotic proteins, family anti blah blah blah. Okay, so phytochemicals in dark-colored plant foods and anti-aging actions. So this is where I wanted to get here because this has to do with quercetin. Phytochemicals are abundant in dark-colored grains like black rice, brown rice, vegetables, and fruits, and they can act on distinct, and oats are rich in them also, other grains have them too, distinct anti-aging signaling pathways targets by activating autophagy, and they're in seeds. Autophagy, the apoptosis and autophagy process involve numerous signaling pathways, okay, such as insulin-like growth factor, mTOR, or mammalian target of rapamycin, mitogen activated protein kinase, so that's AMPK, MAPK, sirtuin 4-KED box, blah blah blah, so that's the FOXO thing you read about. Signaling pathways regulating autophagy and apoptosis. So curcumin is an acidic polyphenolic compound. Let's get down to quercetin. You can read this all on your own. I'll probably go back to this anthocyanins. This is just talking about their different targets. Quercetin ubiquitously exists in vegetables and fruits such as onions, asparagus, apples, cherries, and berries. Most quercetin is present in plants as hydrophilic glycosides that are not easily absorbed directly. The intake of quercetin for healthy young males in China is about 18 milligrams per day. The median intake of quercetin in Japan is about 15.5 milligrams a day. The average intake of quercetin in the US is only 9.75 milligrams per day. The secondary metabolites of flavonoids in fruits. Now, in contrast to that, I take 2,000 milligrams a day. The secondary metabolites of flavonoids in fruits and vegetables are considered to be one of the bioactive compounds with beneficial cardiovascular effects. Among them, quercetin is the most widely distributed flavonoid in food. Dietary intake of quercetin is associated with a reduced risk, so taking in more quercetin is associated with a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease. Quercetin intakes at 150 to 730 milligrams per day for 4 to 10 weeks had antihypertensive effects. It altered the values of various blood pressure regulators such as vascular compliance, peripheral vascular resistance, and total blood pressure, blood volume through its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. Quercetin restored the transmembrane potential altered by advanced glycation M products. So, quercetin reversed the damage of AGEs, which is the cornerstone of the cross-linking theory of aging. Consumption of quercetin-rich vegetables was associated with a decreased risk of, up here you have the supplements, 150 to 730 milligrams per day, and down here you have consumption of quercetin-rich vegetables was associated with a decreased risk of various types of cancer, including breast, lung, nasopharyngeal, kidney, colorectal, prostate, pancreatic, and ovarian cancers. Quercetin enhanced the extracellular calcium 2 plus level, or at least I hope that's calcium, it's Ca, or C, I'll just say Ca2 plus level, leading to disruption of mitochondrial membrane potential. Okay, provoking cytochrome C release and activating, so it's activating, see, remember, cytochrome C being released is something that activates autophagy. So quercetin activates autophagy. Quercetin can induce apoptosis, induce cell cycle arrest, and inhibit the mitotic process by regulating molecular pathways such as cyclin, pro-apoptosis, and these are different factors and pathways here. Notably, quercetin induces apoptosis and inhibits the migration of bladder cancer. Quercetin induces apoptosis and inhibits the migration of bladder cancer cells via the activation of AMPK. It literally inhibits the migration of bladder cancer cells through the activation of AMPK. Activation of AMPK, blah, 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 blah. Regulation of insulin growth factor 1 signaling pathway is considered to underlie interactions between longevity and diet. And guess what? Quercetin does that too. Quercetin feeding prolonged lifespan, suppressed age-related motility retardation, improved motility, recovery after heat stress, and decreased the production of both intracellular and mitochondrial reaction oxygen species. Okay, as a ubiquitous flavonoid, quercetin is a safe dietary supplement. As a ubiquitous flavonoid, quercetin is a safe dietary supplement due to its broad health-promoting effects in humans. As a ubiquitous flavonoid, quercetin is a safe dietary supplement due to its broad health-promoting effects in humans. It improves atherosclerosis and inhibits cancer development, mainly by regulating IGF-1 and AMPK. This is why people are told to follow a reduced calorie diet. This is why people are told to restrict their methionine. This is why people are told da-da-da-da-da. And here you go. This can be done with quercetin. I would still moderately restrict calories, and I would still follow a vegan diet for other reasons, but that's what I wanted to point out here, and you can read the rest of this on your own. Quercetin, which is rich in cocoa. So this is about, I'm just going to go on this real quick because everybody knows I'm a big fan of cocoa. I take about 9 tablespoons in hot water a day, broken up to three different servings. But quercetin does inhibit, so it inhibits carcinogenesis. I'm going to do a video on cocoa too in the future. And then we get into lycopene. I'll probably go back to this in later videos for each of the phytonutrients. So, identification of dietary phytochemicals capable of enhancing autophagy flux. You can read this on your own. I'll probably read it in a later video. Autophagy-dependent beneficial effects of exercise. Acute exercise-induced autophagy, the ability of a single endurance exercise bout to induce autophagenic response in skeletal muscle, was first described in 1984. Several studies have also examined the effects of strength and resistance exercise on regulation of autophagy. It has been shown that reduced for furthermore, it has been shown that a decrease suggesting that resistance exercise induced regulation of autophagy is dependent on nutrient availability. However, the apparent modulation of autophagy by resistance exercise in combination with amino acid intake was not associated with changes in either overall protein synthesis or protein breakdown, so you probably want to stick with aerobic exercise to induce autophagy. Molecular mediators, AMPK, we've been through all these already, so it would be rehashing mTOR, FOXO, and I'll go over this in a later video also. The transcription factor, the different pathways. Glucose regulation. A few studies have examined the role of exercise-mediated autophagy on metabolic adjustments in response to exercise. The observation that plasma lactate, glucose, and free fatty acid concentrations after exercise were unaffected by indeducible muscle-specific KO. Radical oxygen species protection. Mice had impaired exercise-induced activation of autophagy and accumulated damaged mitochondria, suggested that exercise-induced autophagy serves to remove dysfunctional organelles. So exercise-induced autophagy reduces dysfunctional organelles. So when people are saying you have to fast to induce autophagy, you have to fast to get the anti-aging benefits of autophagy, we already know that exercise has many effects on the hallmarks of aging, but it also induces autophagy and helps to remove dysfunctional organelles. So it increases autophagy. It helps the lysosomes go around and munch up the other things and recycle them. In my next video, I'm going to go more into the role of autophagic response induced by major phytochemicals in cancer prevention and treatment. And that's all for this video.